You know, one of the things that I've realized doing YouTube, and honestly, I really think just not even doing YouTube, just being on this earth, I have realized that no matter what you do, no matter who you show for, no matter your progressive politics, no matter how much you try to convince people you're an ally, you give them exactly what they say they want. No matter what, they're never going to be happy. It's never going to be enough. And it's only a matter of time before things become a problem, yet again, for you who needs to constantly bend the knee in order to keep the mob happy, because the mob, even though they say they're going to be happy if you give them XYZ, will never actually be satisfied with anything. So, what am I talking about? Well, there's an article here from CBR, and I can already tell that this is going to be written by a white person, okay? Anytime I see the headline, One Piece, why Usopp's African origin is so problematic. Whenever I see something about race being problematic, right, I can just automatically assume, and you can call this bias, I can automatically assume it's a white person. Without even knowing, I can guarantee you that this is a white person who wrote this article. Now, with that being said, apparently people are having issues with One Piece's African origin explanation when Ichiro Oda explained where certain characters came from within the Straw Hats, okay? Not only just the Straw Hat, just in general. Like, when he was explaining where certain characters would come from if they were in the real world. And obviously you have Netflix's live adaptation that's currently out right now that actually showcases these different people in, in the right way, I would imagine, given the scenario that I've seen so far of Netflix's live action adaptation. Now, we have an article here from CBR from someone called Jonathan Greenall. Okay, I haven't clicked this picture, haven't looked. I'm just gonna guess right off the bat that this person probably is white, especially given his name, which would make a lot of sense. So we're just gonna click it for verification. It's a white dude. Okay, shocker. So shocked, so shocked. Let's let's get into this article, guys, from CBR.com. But of course, before we do, consider subscribing if you're new here. I'm Shadowban as hell, and like the video to push us out into the YouTube algorithm. So, Jonathan, let's see what you have to say and your gripes with One Piece. So it says, there are many great things about One Piece, like its unique and detailed setting, for example. The world of One Piece is far removed from real-life Earth, featuring large seas packed full of strange locations and massive monsters. However, this does not mean that the series is immune to real-world controversy with its otherwise stellar world building. In fact, a question and answer session with One Piece creator Eiichiro Oda showed that even something set in a fantasy world may carry real-world baggage if it's handled improperly. Yes, considering that this is a white person telling an Asian person how to do their work on a manga, and considering that he's saying that it's handled improperly when it's due with other races that are not his own, of course, they're going to be the arbiters of truth when it comes to anything racial justice. It says many volumes of the One Piece manga have an SBS column, which translates to I'm taking questions. This column features series creator Eiichiro Oda responding to questions and comments sent in by fans, giving manga readers a unique behind-the-scenes perspective on how One Piece was written and drawn. At one point, Mr. Oda estimated where in the real world the Straw Hats would come if they lived on Earth, and the answer for Usopp raised some eyebrows to say the least. And this is the big problem with the explanation. So it says, in the 56th edition of the column, a fan asked what nationality the Straw Hat Pirates would be if One Piece was set in the real world. Oda said that just going based off their appearance, the Straw Hat Pirates would be from many locations. Protagonist Monkey D. Luffy would be Brazilian. Robanoa Zoro, the swordsman, would be Japanese. Nami Swedish. Sanji Vinsmoke French. Chopper would be Canadian. Nico Robin would be Russian. Frankie would be American. And Brooke would be Austrian. While many fans disagreed and debated the logic behind some of these answers, there was one other answer that made many uncomfortable. I wonder just how many were actually uncomfortable, CBR, Jonathan. I guarantee you were probably one of the only ones who felt any sort of way, given that you see everything through the eyes of race, which is ironic considering you are a white person trying to tell a non-white person how they should portray race in their book. It just goes to show. It says, while answering the question, Oda said that Usopp was simply from Africa. Of course, this ignores the fact, here we go, that Africa isn't a country, but rather a continent made up of 54 very different countries, including densely populated, culturally diverse ones like Nigeria and Egypt. Reducing this large and varied continent down to a single country overlooks many different people and cultures and treats them like a singular mass. Treating the African nations this way is often used to deliberately other these countries countries, treating them as a great unknown rather than a series of developed countries full of individual people with their own lives and beliefs. Oh my God. Seriously, this man just went on a massive tirade simply because Ichiro said that they're from Africa. Okay, the fact that he just said Usopp was from Africa just made this man go into a massive tirade because he's like, whoa, wait. Africa? No. There's 54 countries in Africa. Which one? You need to represent all 54. It has to be very diverse. You have to be specific. You can't just say Africa. It's like, are you serious? You serious right now? So what about when he said Frankie was American? Is there no diversity in America? Why did you specify and single out Africa is very interesting to me, but we all know why, okay? This is a simple virtue signal. This is nothing more, nothing less. Jonathan from CBR.com is a white liberal that wants to come out and simply make this all about race. And the fact that a character that was coming from Africa was not specifically mentioned in a specific country within Africa, that was all it took to make Jonathan go insane. It says, aside from that, giving Usopp an entire continent of origin rather than a specific country made him inconsistent with the Straw Hats, and it suggested that Usopp's origins weren't worth any serious thought. However, why would that suggest that? You're the only one thinking that. How could you accuse Ichiro of not giving thought to a character that he created? Like, you really are going there right now. You're going there because it has to do with Africa, right? You didn't care about the lack of thought going into the American one. You didn't care about that. But the one about Africa, no. You need to be specific. You got to mention one of the 54 countries. You have to. Usopp is an emotionally deep and engaging character worth the time and effort to develop, both in an actual story and in SBS sessions. Oda likely made Zoro from Japan to match his use of stylish katanas from Wano, and Brook the musician is probably Austrian to match Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart, who is also from Austria. In light of that, it should be no trouble to specify where in Africa Usopp would be from and giving him a meaningful cultural background to match. My God. Imagine reading One Piece, right? Imagine reading One Piece, watching One Piece on the anime or whatever. Imagine doing all of this and completely focusing on the race of the characters, like as if that's the only thing that matters. Like, you got to focus on the race of the characters, right? Because it has to do with an African descent character, right? That's the only reason why this man is flipping out. He didn't care about any of the other races. He didn't care about anything other than the fact that they mentioned the one is from Africa and there wasn't enough specification. Thus, he went crazy because his liberal studies degree told him to do so. It really is ridiculous. Now, we're going to get into why his African background is troubling and problematic, apparently, for Usopp. It says, when One Piece fans contrast this comment with Usopp's appearance, things start to become problematic. Many readers quickly drew attention to Usopp's large lips, pointing out that this style of large, exaggerated lips was a common racist trope. This trope has been used to mock and dehumanize black people for many years and is still used today. This, coupled with the large nose, made many people uncomfortable as it made Usopp look worryingly close to a blackface caricature, an abhorrent trope that has also been used to insult and dehumanize black people throughout history. Bruh, are you serious, man? Are you really going there? You're the reason why they tried to make Mr. Popo blue. You realize that, right? And then they ended up making him black again later on. You're that person. You're that person that is trying to make this into a thing, and it really is tiring at this point. One thing I don't like is that these white liberals, especially with black people, they want to try to pretend as if certain facial characteristics or certain characteristics in general, by simply mentioning them to be true, because it is true, okay? The lips are usually bigger. The noses are usually bigger. By saying that is not a racist thing. By saying and exhibiting the different characteristics in different races is not a racist thing, okay? You can say that for Hispanics as well. You can say that for all different kinds of people. We all have physical distinctions that make us look like a certain race. This is why there's differentiations in the human species. But with that being said, that doesn't make it racist, okay? And you are trying to make this into something that it's not. You are looking for racial undertones where they don't exist. You are looking for problems where there is no problems because you want to make problems, and that's the problem in and of itself. Usopp's design, paired with the fact that based on what he looks like, Oda said he would be from Africa, is a real issue, even if it's unintentional. While referring to Africa as a country instead of a continent is an unfortunately common mistake, when looking at it tandem with Usopp's Usopp's design, it becomes hard to deny that it veers far too close to racial stereotypes for comfort. It is a perfect example of how creatives can unwittingly build off tropes and cliches that have their origins in historical racism if they don't carefully consider their creative decisions. So let me ask you a question, Jonathan, from CBR. If you go to a black person and that black person has big lips and a big nose, are you going to call them racist for having that? Like, or it's just, or is it natural? Like, I just don't understand. I don't get the whole idea behind that, right? Because by you saying that it's racist to mention specific actual characteristics that belong to certain races predominantly, obviously not all of them, obviously, right? Because there is interracial mixing, but predominantly there are certain physical characteristics that belong to certain races. So by you coming out and saying that that is indeed racist by mentioning it, are you saying physical characteristics are racist in and of itself? Like, I don't understand. Like, is a black person supposed to feel bad that they have big lips, big noses? Like, does that make them racist by having that? I just don't get it. You know, it is people like Jonathan that are truly racist on the inside. Like, they're deep down, they are racist as hell. And they try to pass that off into the public as not racist by constantly calling out bullshit racism where it doesn't exist, right? They by joining the forces with virtue signals and becoming virtue signals themselves, they absolve themselves of any sins within themselves. That's how they view it. They try to be anti-racist because they are truly racist within themselves. And then there's this final title here, which I think is hilarious. Netflix proudly represents Usopp as a person of color. Now, here's the funny thing. It's a person of color. Okay, no problem. This person has big fucking lips. I'm sorry. Like, I don't know if anybody else disagrees. If you disagree, you can let me know in the comments down below. This person has big lips. So are you going to tell me that Netflix's portrayal of Usopp is racist because they presented someone with big lips? Like, I don't get that. I don't get, like, why is that a thing? I'll never understand. It says Netflix's One Piece is a modern anime adaptation for a modern audience. Whatever the fuck that means. Complete with tasteful and sensitive portrayals of everyone and everything involved. It's doubly important to avoid problematic elements in live action, since the characters are portrayed by real people who may represent equally real cultures and ethnic groups. Netflix's One Piece did this well in this arena, most of all with Usopp himself. To begin with, there is nothing exaggerated about Usopp's physical appearance, since he was not drawn in a cartoony style, and the actor Jacob Gibson did not use any prosthetics, makeup, or of course there's gonna be, it's live action, bro. It's live action. It's not an actual drawn cartoon. You can exaggerate a cartoon. You can exaggerate CGI. It's very difficult to exaggerate a actual live action show. You are comparing apples to oranges. Like, it just doesn't, man, I can't stand this guy. I'm not even gonna give this guy any more time of day. My point being is that simply there are certain characteristics of certain races. This man here has big lips, bro. I'm sorry. Like, he's got big lips. He got a small ass nose, but he's got big lips at the end of the day. So by you trying to say, oh, Ichido drawing a person from Africa with big lips is racist, well, what are you talking about? Because Netflix casted a black person with big lips. Now what? Are you going to say they're racist too? There is no consistency in their argument, because at the end of the day, all of this is a simple virtue signal. That is all it is. They are virtue signaling at the end of the day to try to make themselves seem as anti-racist as possible, to make them seem like the arbiters of truth, the side of moral social justice. That's the side that they think they're on. So, Jonathan Greenall, congratulations. You made yourself look like a fool. So anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you did enjoy it. If you did, consider leaving me a subscribe. I would greatly appreciate it. Don't forget to like the video, comment, let me know what you thought, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Hypnotic out.